Today's sermon is a collection of love letters, but not the typical love letter written for a paramour, but love letters written to various aspects of the world itself. In honor of the 51st anniversary of Earth Day, this coming Thursday, you will hear letters written with a more global, empathetic passion. A passion emanating not just from the heart and mind, but from the soul. And now, members of the worship committee will read his or her love letter to the world.
Thank you. Dear Horizons, it has been said there is an ancient conversation between the earth and the sky. If we look to the west from where we live, on the very edge of a vast continent, on land first occupied by indigenous people of the Chumash Nation, we see a magnificent ocean. And where that ocean meets the sky, a magical horizon full of mystery and potential. Perhaps we catch the sun setting, saying farewell to a day we've just experienced. We look to the east and gaze upon a horizon of rooftops, treetops, hilltops, and perhaps we experience the sun rising, welcoming us to a new day. John O'Donohue said, "The horizon recalls you into a mindful mode of stillness, solitude, and silence where you can truly receive time." I will add to that, where you can hear that ancient conversation between the earth and the sky. There is little I love more than to sit and listen to that conversation, watch it taking place. Parker Palmer, speaking to a group of 30-year-olds, said, "At age 75, I feel like I'm standing somewhere down the curvature of the earth. I cannot see the horizon you folks see, where you're standing higher on that curvature. I need your eyes, and I need your ears, and I need you to tell me what it is you're seeing, because that same horizon is coming at me, even though I don't know it." As we age, we may grow wiser, but the horizon we view is limited to whatever we began, wherever we began, whatever spot in time we first joined this earth. Every day, newborns inherit a new horizon, which they will view with their eyes. This will go on for as long as humans have the privilege of walking upon planet Earth. The horizons we share as human beings keep us hoping and yearning for a better world, for what is yet to be.
Dear waters of the world, I have swum in the Pacific Ocean, dived through your waves in the Atlantic, floated in the Tyrrhenian Sea off Sicily's coast, and in the Mediterranean off Crete and Malta. I've dipped my toes in the icy North Sea off the coast of England and climbed down a flowing waterfall in Jamaica to swim in the plunge pool at the bottom. I grew up on Lake Erie's shores, but only swam there once. The water tasted of garbage. I've water skied on Chippewa Lake, kayaked on the Colorado River, dived headfirst into the chilly waters of Bear Lake in Maine, rafted on the Housatonic in Connecticut, and tubed down a river in Baton Rouge. I love your water. I love the oceans, lakes, rivers, ponds, waterfalls, streams, and even puddles. Water is your lifeblood. Without it, we are nothing. We have nothing. We are its caretakers. When your oceans become filled with plastic, when your lakes and rivers foam from chemical pollution, when your reefs are killed by agricultural runoff, when the Gulf Stream is in danger of becoming a permanent cold blob, we are all in trouble. From the smallest single-cell organisms to those highest on the food chain, trouble all around. Your outward manifestation of nature's flowing bounty is enough reason to make us purposeful in our management. But providing beauty is not your water's only business. You have a lot of people to take care of. The weight of each human body, every one of us, is more than 50% water. There are no exceptions and no alternatives. Not one human, whether in Cambria, California, Flint, Michigan, El Salvador, or Central Africa, differs. Yet the scarcity of potable water in some of the world's population is tenuous at best. You, Mother Earth, have done your part. The rest is up to us. We must take steps to ensure plastic is removed from its wrongful environment, all 51 trillion pieces of it. And we must put in place even more stringent laws to eradicate this pollution. The health of your oceans, rivers, and lakes determines your future as well as ours. Scientists are assiduously studying the AMOC phenomenon, the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or the cold blob I referenced earlier. It is the in-depth study of the Gulf Stream. Everything seems to depend on the melting of the Greenland ice shelf and the delicate balance of heated and cold water, salt water, and fresh water. These 4 kinds of water molecules possess different weights, causing them to flow at varying depths on their long journeys, from the Gulf of Mexico up to Newfoundland, before splitting into the North Atlantic Drift and south to the Canary Current. This AMOC is being called a climate switch, a poster child for the idea of a climatic tipping point. Water issues are global and personal, but the two are not separate. What affects one of us affects us all. In the year 2000, my husband and I purchased a property in Lewisboro, New York. We had painters in on the day of our closing. As they washed out their brushes, suddenly no water came out of the faucet. We discovered the well in the front yard was empty. The pump sat at a depth of 250 feet. The next day, a huge well digger, weighing many tons, parked in the yard and worked its magic to dig down to 650 feet until we could get the proper pressure required by the state. For this, I apologize on behalf of our population for violating your surface. The aquifer supplying our well and many other wells in the area was stressed by overdevelopment. A high school a short distance away, a development of condominiums, a small shopping center, and private homes, all pulled from the same source. When a bond issue came up for a vote to build a recreational area across the street from us, complete with sports fields, I sued the town of Lewisboro. The bond did not pass, but a private citizen came forward, purchased the land, and bequeathed it to the high school. We sold the house shortly after. We may have sold our particular water problem to someone else, but water concerns are universal and ubiquitous. The water issues confronting you, dear planet, are mostly man-made, and again, for that I am sorry. We are guilty of plastic and industrial pollution, agricultural runoff, global warming, and overdevelopment. The Clean Water Act of 1972 and 1977 needs to be brushed off and repurposed. So does the Safe Drinking Water Act. Those are laws meant to keep this country's water fishable, swimmable, and drinkable. But the problem is bigger than just for our country. It is a worldwide concern. Thank you, Mother Earth, for providing us with your bounty. Hopefully, we shall become better caretakers. Love, Jan.
Dear food, OMG, how I love you so much. I love you with every fiber and morsel of my being. And this is not some superficial love whose passion wanes after years of familiarity or an obligatory love. I know that I need you just to stay alive. I know that water sustains life, but you, food, enable life to continue, to grow, to heal. But I must say, with all sincerity, in the caring and sensitive hands of a culinary specialist, you can excite my senses like no other. Case in point, the aromas wafting from that special room where your raw self is transformed into the ambrosia of the gods, excites my olfactory senses, drawing me ever so closer to you until I hear that magical phrase, bon appetit. As with most things in life, you have a vast spectrum of variety from the gruel served at Mr. Brumble's mess hall to the duck foie gras served at the L'Epicure in Paris, France. This spectrum, encompassing the infinite cuisines and levels of quality, are found not only in restaurants and home kitchens, but test kitchens, soup kitchens, county fairs, picnics, potlucks, birthday parties, wedding receptions, wakes, and even bar mitzvahs. However, when considering people's relationship with you, there are only two types: those who eat to live and those who live to eat. And they know who they are. Remarkably, the latter category is unique to humans. No other species, to my knowledge, cooks and seasons you or devotes an entire television network to you. And those in that unique category, the live to eat crowd, include chefs, food critics, those who enjoy cooking you at home, and those who gravitate around the kitchen throughout the day and evening, foraging for tasty morsels in the fridge or pantry. But dear food, there is a more serious matter at hand. As much as we humans love you, our indulgence has caused stress among most other wild species. The natural availability of food sources has been compromised by the effects of climate change and environmental disregard. It is up to us to be more aware and vigilant so we can make better decisions both globally and locally. Dear food, when left to your own devices, you recreate yourself in a manner of perfection, species appropriate, abundant, and organic. You have a knack for menu planning, providing enough sustenance for all living creatures on Earth. But your best laid plans get buggered up when a particular species finds a way to overpopulate and simultaneously disrupt your natural flow of food reproduction. And now this particular species, who has no natural predator, has more inhabitants than can be fed organically. However, this species has found ways to manipulate you for greater harvest yields. In theory, with the onset of genetically modifying you, no one on this planet needs to go to bed hungry. So this brings up a conundrum. Do we let those not as privileged to organic food consume you as a GMO, or part ways and starve? No, wait, don't be offended. This was not a dig at you. Your intention is honorable. Feed everyone safely and organically. Finally, how we treat you is a testimony to our feelings toward nature itself. Do we feel reverence for the apples we pick from the tree, the fish we catch out of the water, and the vegetables we harvest from our victory gardens? We see this reverence at farmers markets and food stands and organic retailers who pride themselves on offering the freshest and tastiest produce, all piled up on long tables, unencumbered and free. Or do you feel aggrieved and humiliated when you are processed, denatured, or pasteurized, then imprisoned in tiny cells, more commonly known as cartons, boxes, and jars? I love you, food. We should all find a way to love you to the fullest. Here's the deal. You continue to nourish us, and we take the time to feel gratitude with every bite, with the added bonus of enjoying every morsel. With love, Randy.
Please join in singing Loveliest of Trees, number 98.
Loveliest of trees, the cherry now is hung with bloom along the bough and stands about the woodland ride, wearing white for Eastertide. Now of my threescore years and 20 will not come again, and take from 70 springs a score, leaving me just 50 more. And since to look at things in bloom, 50 springs are little room. About the woodlands I will go, seeing the cherry hung with snow.
Dear my wonderful trees, when I think about all the trees that I have known and loved, quite a few of you come to mind. My first memory of trees is of the huge elms that lined the sidewalk where I rode my tricycle in New Hampshire. You were huge, and I always felt protected by you. I cherish the old pictures of my sister and me playing under you, especially the pictures of my younger sister being tied with a large rope to one of you for safety as a large river flowed behind our home. The last time I made a pilgrimage to my childhood places, you were gone, victims of the Dutch elm disease. After you elms came the pine grove that melded into the pine forest that then became a swamp behind my next home in New Hampshire. That swamp always yielded our Christmas tree every year. I was a compulsive tree climber and always seemed to have pine pitch on my hands along with skinned knees. Pine trees are not the easiest to climb, but I took you on anyway. I cannot discuss childhood trees without paying homage to you, beautiful New England maples that abound in my home state. Fall every year is an amazing spectacle, plus how great you are to climb. Another wonderful tree memory happened while living in far western Germany in the early 60s. I had this amazing view from my bedroom window across a large valley almost to the French border. In spring, you apple and cherry trees would bloom, and for miles, my view consisted of pink and white blossoms. I would sit in that window for hours and relish the view. I will always love cottonwood trees, especially in the fall. I remember our fall trips to Taos, New Mexico, and that gorgeous blue New Mexico sky. My favorite thing to do was to sit in the courtyard of our inn under the yellow fall foliage of you cottonwoods and just stare up. I'm not given to many spiritual moments, but that was always for me a special place and time. So that brings me to California and redwoods. Before we ever moved to California, we had made the pilgrimages to see the redwoods. I remember being in far northern California and having a creepy moment when standing in front of an amazing redwood and the trees started talking and quoting James Kilmer's poem, Trees. It did not have the desired effect from me. I don't like talking trees. Sorry. I am lucky enough here in Cambria to now have my very own redwood tree beside my house. And you are a glorious specimen. And now I am back to living in a pine forest. However, my knees are not scabby from climbing you now, and I'm not covered in pine pitch. You have to take my word for that. I know now that trees have a symbiotic relationship with each other. You Monterey pines here in Cambria are known for your short root systems. So the best thing for you to do is grow in groups to help support each other through those roots. I've been searching for what to tell my children when I'm no longer around to love my trees. I have never felt I have the right to take up 6 feet of space when the world is done with me. So I have found a solution, and it makes me very happy. There are now living urns where a tree is planted over your cremains. What a wonderful way to celebrate a life by growing a living memory tree. So many thanks to all my wonderful trees, and especially for the joy you have given me for almost 80 years. Love, Judy Butler.
Dear animals, I struggle to find the means to convey the deeply wonderful, heartfelt feelings of gratitude I have for all animal beings, those who came before, those who I am honored to share this brief present time with, and those who will coexist on this beautiful planet in the future. Thank you for your beneficial contribution to the web of life. Each of you has a valuable role to play. Some of you till the earth, making the soil a fertile home for plant life. Some pollinate the flowers, and almost all provide a necessary source of food and medicines for the survival of others, and clothing and shelter for people. Some of you are our teachers, some entertain us, some inspire us with boundless grace and beauty. Some are protectors, some carry our burdens, some work for our benefit, and some are our very best friends. I apologize to all the creepy crawly ants and spiders in my kitchen for killing you. And to all the gophers in my yard, I'm sorry. I try to think of clever ways to hasten your demise. So far, I haven't actually done anything, but I do think about it. We humans, it seems, often forget that we are animals too. We hold ourselves in a higher place because we have words and opposable thumbs which enable us to write books and create works of art and beautiful buildings. But none of these will endure. I'm sorry we are such a vain species. From the outermost house, Harry Beston writes, "We need another and a wiser and perhaps a more mystical concept of animals. We patronize them for their incompleteness, for their tragic fate, for having taken form so far below ourselves. For the animal shall not be measured by man. In a world older and more complete than ours, they move finished and complete, gifted with the extension of the senses we have lost or never attained, living by voices we shall never hear. They are not brethren. They are not underlings. They are other nations, caught with ourselves in the net of life and time, fellow prisoners of the splendor and travail of the earth," unquote. And we have the nerve to call you beasts. Humans are by far the most cunning and dangerous predators on the earth. I am terribly sorry that people hunt you for sport, capture you, and take you away from your native habitat and put you in cages for profit, entertainment, or for scientific research. They torture and maim you, claiming they are taming you, and then execute you if you try to protect yourself or steal an ice chest of food in a national park or wander into a human community that was built in your natural habitat. I apologize to those of you animals who cannot follow your natural migrations freely when people build fences and walls to keep other people out or in. My heart is filled with deep reverence for you in the animal kingdom, and I pray for your children. Self-proclaimed geologian Thomas Berry began his book, Our Great Work, with this dedication. To all the children, to the children who swim beneath the waves of the sea, to the children of the flowers in the meadows and the trees in the forest, to all those children who roam over the land and the winged ones who fly with the winds, to the human children too, that all the children may go together into the future in the full diversity of their regional communities. With love, Mary Schwalbe. Bless the beasts and the children, for in this world they have no voice. They have no choice. Bless the beasts and the children, for the world can never be the world they see. Light their way when the darkness surrounds them. Give them love, let it shine all around them. Bless the beasts and the children, give them shelter from a storm, keep them safe, keep them warm.
Dear human race, Mother Earth here. I've been trying to reach you for the longest time. You do realize that I birthed you and care for you. Why can't you behave like good children? Do I have to remind you again and again to wash off that soot? And please, stop bickering over who gets the most goodies. The trees, the oils, the minerals, and food supplies are for all of you to share. Please, kids, pick up your litter and clean up your rooms, for heaven's sake. You act as if you don't care. Really? Well, this time you'll be sorry. You'll regret soiling me so badly, I can never get rid of the stains. And the way you've cut off my air supply, shame on you. You kids deserve a spanking. Maybe I should flood you with my tears again, or give you a good shake. Goodness knows, I've tried to warn you. Go ahead. Keep pummeling me with your drills, burden me with too much weight, burn away the hair on my skin. You can't run and you can't hide. You'll pay for this, my undeserving progeny. I can wipe you out with a single sneeze. Better yet, let a rogue germ do it for me. I'll just sit back and watch you perish. I can always make other children more deserving of my bounty. Unless, let me think. Okay, go to your rooms. Cover your faces in shame. Isolation. That ought to do it for now. This is your last time out. Sincerely, Gaia. Dear Gaia, I come a penitent, your imperfect child, wading in a puddle of guilt. I alone cannot make amends for the damage my siblings and I have caused. The chemicals and waste we flush into your waters, the pummeling and digging into your body, greedy for precious oils and metals, soaking up all your sustenance as you shiver and shake, skin afire and nutrient deficient. I could proclaim it's not my fault, heart awash in the ocean of denial, and blame my forebears. But that does not excuse me. I have known your power, wobbled when you shuddered, gasped for breath when smoke filled the skies. I am a member of the family, born of your waters, nurtured by your soil. I have inhabited your body, organs, sinew, and flesh, mine for the taking, swaddled myself with your radiance, sucked the milk from your breast. I am one of them, one of too many weighing you down, depleting your cache of comfort. Mother, I fear your wrath, beg your forgiveness, but that is not enough. Yours is not a faint echo. Your words a warrior call to action, to redress, a plea to tread upon you more tenderly, abate the warming, protect your waters, the wellspring, remove the dregs, replenish you with restraint. Now I understand your urgency. I pray you will recover, return to your fruitful form, plant seeds of plenitude in your fertile womb, so that you may flourish once more. Sincerely, your human child, Marianne.